Okay, hello. You may notice I'm in a different location in space, and that my sound here in space is significantly worse, along with the rest of my setup. Though amazingly, we have a green screen. I'm in the middle of a move. My stuff is stuck somewhere, and this is all I've got. So I'm going to be creating with this setup hopefully the values of the information and not the production quality in this case. This is a Patreon video, and what we're doing today is we are going to be going through some of the mastermind questions that have been asked over the course of the last week that I haven't been able to get to because I'm traveling. So there's some content creation in here, there's some business stuff in here, hopefully a little bit for everyone. And it's going to be a little bit janky with some more pauses than usual just because I can't, I just don't have a good setup right now. So bear with me while we do that. So the first question was, I think from Airwing Marine in Mastermind Chat. And this conversation was surrounding the YouTube algorithm as it relates to uploading videos unlisted on after streams. So that is, if you live stream on YouTube and you post a video, what does that affect the algorithm? So here's what I think, and I'll tell you what the official responses are. So if you upload a video, if you live stream and then that video is unlisted, that should not affect your channel in terms of any of your watch time or any stats that matter. If you upload a live stream, if you live stream on YouTube, I keep making that mistake, and then you post the video, that video will be subject to normal algorithmic things like watch time, CTR, and it will almost certainly tank your channel. So for that reason, most of the large YouTubers, or if not all of the large YouTubers who also stream, will not post their videos on of their live streams on their main channel. They'll post them on a second channel, and that's what you should do. The Creator Studio says, which is the YouTube people that work at YouTube, they say that the unlisted videos also do not influence anything, which makes sense, right? Like, why would a video that's not published on YouTube influence the algorithm? Although a video that is published on YouTube, just because it's a live stream, becomes a normal video. So if what's likely to happen is, like, let's say that you normally make 4 to 12 minute videos, for example, which is like the average that most people do. If you post a video that's a live stream that's 5 hours, that's going to destroy your completion rate, right? Because your completion rate, most people are probably, some high percentage of people are probably getting through your entire video, but almost no one's going to get through that entire live stream. So that is going to affect your channel negatively. Likewise, less people are likely to click on videos that are live streams and watch them in general. So you're just going to tank your whole channel by posting live stream videos on your main channel. You should never do that. You may be able to find an exception, like with someone who's successful who's doing that, but it's still wrong. so don't do that. Okay, so that's the big one. So there was a follow-up question here within this conversation that said, my question would be, if you send an unlisted video to Patreon subscribers and they're a good portion of your YouTube subs and loyal viewers, they're less likely to click on that video when they see it recommended to them and less likely to watch the whole thing if they click on it. In theory, this could hurt the stats of your video. So I think this is overthinking things. If you have a good video on YouTube, you should be trying to appeal to the broadest audience possible within your niche. It doesn't really matter if your Patreon viewers have already seen your video. For example, if I upload all of my Patreon videos unlisted, there's two reasons for that. One is because it's very easy to do for you to view it and like no hassle. And number two is if somebody who is a Patreon member wants to send that video to someone who they think it could help them, I want them to be able to do that. So regardless of whether they pay or not, it's obviously you get access to the whole collection if you're on Patreon, but I want to have that available to people that because the thrust of these videos is to help people. So I use that system, and I don't worry at all about uploading videos to my main channel. That sometimes Patreon videos end up on the main channel if I think they can appeal to that broad audience. You might say, well, that's great, Devin. You have 100,000 subscribers. Like, of course, that works for you. But that works for anybody because your thinking should, and I see this consistency in a lot of content creators. Your thinking should be, how do I appeal to the audience that is the broadest possible, instead of like, oh, I'm gonna lose viewers over here. Like, you're in a scarcity mindset. You should be building your content or your advertising, your promotion or your business. You should be building that to reach the most amount of people possible, or at the very least to reach the objective that you're trying to reach, right? You should be goal forward. You should, like there's negative backwards thinking to say, okay, I'm losing subscribers by posting to Patreon. Don't think like that. Like, it's the same type of thinking that's like, oh, I have to follow the YouTube algorithm to do things. No. Like, if you produce something good that people want to consume because it's either highly entertaining or highly educational, you need to trust the systems that are in place, whether they be the YouTube algorithm, the TikTok algorithm, the business, or any kind of value generation. Our entire system, like our ad system, entertainment as a whole, is built on delivering good content to people that want to consume it. So if you're creating good and what do I mean by good content? What I mean content that is either highly entertaining or highly educational, right? Either of those two things will be considered good content for the purpose of like talking through this. This has been the case since television became a thing, since radio became a thing, since people clacked rocks together and said sounds, since like that is how our entire system is built. So these algorithms that like people sort of talk about all the time as like, does the YouTube algorithm do this? Does the Facebook algorithm do this? Will my advertisement get promoted? Don't worry about that stuff. If you make it highly entertaining, highly educational, and I'm not saying that as like a buzzword. I'm saying like if you focus your mind on doing that, right, and creating that outcome, it will be much better than if you're worrying through all this algorithm shit. I never worry about that algorithm stuff. I never worry about CTR. I don't even know what my CTR is for my main channel. And this is coming from a guy who like literally I write hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars actually, of proposals that concern like CTR of different influencers and things like that. Like I know the stat, right? I know it's important. I don't look at it for myself. Why? Because my judgment of my videos in my case, right, is this a highly educational video? Are you watching this and getting something from this within the sphere that I talk about, that I'm an expert in, that you can't get anywhere else, and that is better than you're going to get anywhere, right? That's my sort of like KPI. That's where I'm focused. So that's where you should be. Don't worry about this like algorithm stuff and whatever, or like if you're going to lose like 200, if like you have 200 subscribers and 40 of them are on Patreon, and you're like, I'm going to lose 40 people, which is effectively like 20% of my audience. Okay. Like, well, like your video should be going out to 5,000 or 10,000 people if it's highly educational or highly relevant to those people, and you've titled it and you've done the thumbnail right and you've written your description right. That you shouldn't worry about that stuff. So I would say, although this comment is technically true, I would not worry through it for those reasons. Okay, so we're gonna do a complete 180. Does a 180 put you? No, 180 turns you around. 360 puts you back where you are. That's if you work 360 degrees and walk away. Okay. All right. Next question is about consulting. This is from It's Friday, who's actually like really cool. In the mastermind chat, he's building a like a DM business for like Dungeons and Dragons. Super neat. So he's saying, are there any opinions from those of us who do consulting? I am doing consulting on scaling people, game master businesses from wherever they want to go, but I need to figure out a price. And I saw that my average is like $100 an hour for my industry. Okay, so I should do a whole video on consulting, and somebody should hold me accountable to it. Because this question deserves a whole video on just like how to set up a consulting business. It's something that you can really easily do, because most people are an expert in something, and most people will pay an expert to learn about something, and it might be the things that you don't expect. So I will tell you about how I price my consulting, which will not be helpful. And then I'll tell you about how I find people to consult with if I was doing that. I've shut down consulting for like months, like 6 months. I just have way too much to do at the agency. But if I was to do it, again, I'll tell you how I would do it. I had more clients than I knew what to do with. And I'll tell you how I did that. So within consulting, there are these headhunter agencies, which you can find through Google, where they are looking for consultants, and they have a large base of clientele. So if you go on, your number one resource for consulting and finding people that will come to you for consulting is LinkedIn. LinkedIn's incredible for this. And you need to update. Actually, if you go to my LinkedIn and you go to LinkedIn Devin Nash, you'll see the first job on there is senior gaming industry consultant. There's a reason for that. It's because when people search for that on LinkedIn, they will find me first. And that's even though I'm a C-level at an agency, I have a full-time content creation business. That's what I put first, because that is my my whole consulting thing. That's like, I know how important that is. So if you put that on LinkedIn, people will actually reach out to you from these places, but there are literally dozens of these like major agencies that are looking for hundreds and hundreds of consultants. Their game is they link up a consultant with a potential client that's looking for that expertise, and then they take a percentage of it. So you can charge whatever you want through these consulting firms, and your best bet is to like find like maybe 5 of those, like 1 to 5 of those a day, and email them and say, hey, I'm an expert in this field. Here's my resume, which I'll make a video or some content about how to do this. It's just outside the scope of this video. It requires a lot more. So this is like one of the Devin Nash 45-minute talks type of things. But yeah, you do that, and you'll find more clients than God. Then the question becomes how to charge for them. So the answer for consulting charging, the short answer is obviously that it depends on your industry. But generally speaking, you can get away with like $100 to $500 an hour is super reasonable. I say $100 to $500 an hour, not $1, right? And I actually don't think you should go below $100 ever, like in this economy. I think that doesn't make any sense. Knowledge-based expertise should always start at 100 and should go up from there. For something like Dungeon Masters or DMing, what I would do is I would look at the amount of money. So 2 things. I would look at the amount of money that those people typically earn, which you should know if you're an expert in the field. So, for example, most of my consulting that I do when I turn it on is actually companies that are looking to get into esports or advertising or marketing that want an opinion on how to do it or if they should do it. So, for example, like I might consult with like a very large F500 about if they should put several $1 million into their digital advertising budget, right? And typically for those types of consulting deals, I will charge $500 to $900 an hour. Just because the reason I do that is because I'm going to tell you about the second thing, which is what your time is worth. So if I just sit here and I do nothing else but fill out proposals or kind of like complete the things that I need to do at Novo, my average deal value right now. Well, I don't accept deals anymore that are below $25,000, and my average deal value right now is like north of like $100,000. So that's what I'm looking at. For like an hour of my time, I can construct a proposal for a brand, send it to them, and say, "Yo, this is what it's going to cost," and possibly earn that kind. Now, not all of that's like, because a lot of that's like influencer spend, things like that. We end up with a lower percentage of that. But let's say that if I'm sitting here for an hour and I can bring $20,000 into the company, it becomes really difficult to get me to consult. Does that make sense? I would have to really feel like I'm benefiting them, or I'm like, it's almost like it sounds like really, I guess, pretentious. It's not how I'm intending to do it. I'm intending to add value, but it sounds almost like a charity, right? Like if I'm charging $1,000 an hour for consulting, but I can earn $20,000 in that hour, I'm sacrificing $19,000 to do that. So you can't think of things one-to-one like that exactly, because like, okay, well then why don't you just work the 5 hours that you're playing Path of Exile? Well, I like that game. Like it doesn't earn me anything, right? Okay, so you have to think through it that way. You can't think through it one-to-one. But this is called the time value of money, the time value of opportunity cost, right, is there. So what I would look at the amount that they're making. So in that case, those people are multiple Fortune 500, multi-million dollars. They can pay me $1,000 an hour. It's no problem at all for them. If I'm talking to a small broadcaster who has 30 viewers, and unless they have a reliable source of income that I am super confident that, and I'm super confident they're going to make their money back like 3, 4, 5x on this, I either won't take the client or I'll very reluctantly take the client, and then I'll try to charge as little as I can. I think like the least I go down to is like $300 to $500 an hour. I haven't done 3 in a long time. And generally I just say, hey, I don't want your money. For 99% of the small content creator clients, I do not want their money ever. They will not make it back. There's so much more they can learn from our free resources or very low cost resources like $5. Watch like the 70 videos that are on Patreon, and you're going to be so much further ahead than talking to me for an hour for 500, right? So anyway, I say that because for the consulting thing, we're actually getting into a whole consulting video. Okay, so the short of it is, look at I'll do a whole video on this, but look at the number of people. Look at what what they can afford, right? Look at what your time is worth and what you could be earning if you didn't do this consulting. If that's nothing, then I would say your base rate is 100, and it's 100 until you can get enough clients that you could justify raising your prices. And then number 3, what is the cash flow that is available to your clientele And you know, how much do you need the money, right? That's the very short of consulting. But I will do a whole video on this, and you probably saw some of it because I start ranting and I get into it. Okay, there's so many of you that could consider adding consulting as like a as a business strategy, particularly if you learn like the discoverability around it. And we need to talk through that. My editors have been focusing on making intros for YouTube videos. If I keep intros using subtitles or pictures 15 seconds or less, the intro tanks big time within the first 5 or 20 seconds. So for YouTube content creation and in general, I think intros are kind of like an outdated thing and probably always have been. So if you do like a flash screen, it's like your logo and it's on there for even 5 seconds. I feel like for that 5 seconds, that provides no value to the user, and it's just a complete waste of time. Like, let's say that it's like, well, Devin is making a brand impression to get them to subscribe and follow your channel. You can do that through a call to action, like 10 minutes into the video, or they'll just subscribe if they like your content anyway, or if you remind them to. I don't think that kind of like. The first 30 seconds needs to be dedicated to a call to action about why they should watch the remaining time of your video. So for example, like if I was going to open up a video on YouTube, you'll see me do this a lot. I'll say something like, all right, we are going to talk through the biggest change to Twitch advertising revenue ever. This is an opportunity for streamers to make more money than they've ever seen before. So stay tuned because we're going to get into this, right? That's a interesting hook. You feel bad if you click out of that, or either you're not interested, I was going to lose you anyway, or you are interested, you're my target audience, and you're going to watch that, right? That's what you should use with that kind of time. I don't know how much that time that took, maybe 7 to 10 seconds. It's worth so much more than any kind of intro. You shouldn't do intros. These weird like 2010 Minecraft intros that last like 30 seconds, like like get to the meat, man. Like we're like dude. Yeah. For long form, but which I mean like people that are creating long videos or articles, long form content creators, we're dinosaurs making a 45-minute video. We live in TikTok, man. People are consuming stuff like rapid ADD speed, 6 seconds. Like you got to compete with that with everything you do. It's really hard. You can't do this stuff where you make like a 6-second intro. That's a whole piece of content for somebody on TikTok right now. Yeah, you can't do that. When it comes to getting more subscribers, what helps you a lot? I'm struggling a lot to gain. Not that that's my goal, but for a video, I have a feeling I could get more out of it. Yeah, CTAs matter a lot. You want to make sure that you want to go to your analytics. For small content creators, like you want to go to your analytics and you want to like look through and say, okay, what percentage of people are watching my videos that are unsubscribed? You know, you want to convert more of those people. So call to action are really important. Probably 2 or 3 throughout your video. I do 1 because I'm not that interested in subscribers, but 2 to 3 during the video, you know, for 8 minutes. Good. Also like cues, like logos come up. Remember to subscribe, things like that is good. Generally, when you're a smaller content creator, I much appreciate the 1 is greater than 0 strategy, which is like you should be reaching out to on Twitter. You should be responding to people's threads. That's like, okay, you see a popular thread, somebody talking about an issue, you made a video about that, and you want to and you say, hey, I made a video about this, check this out here. Like when let's say you're like below 50 views for your videos, you should be doing hand-to-hand combat is what we call it in marketing, which is like you're going into Twitter, you're going into Reddit, you're posting videos, you should be self-promoting a lot. Because in that case, like 50 more clicks on your video is like life-changing for your content, and YouTube values that kind of thing very highly because people that come from outside of YouTube are more valuable than people that come from inside of YouTube for consuming content, as is the case with all social media platforms. So one of the big mistakes that smaller content creators are doing on all platforms is that they're not utilizing other platforms to advertise when a few clicks can make a very big difference to them, respectively. Okay, more content creation questions. I was wondering what would be good metrics for reviewing a video I made. I'm mainly on TikTok and YouTube Shorts. Okay, so TikTok and YouTube Shorts, your metrics are completion rate. That's most important. Repeats, which is not the case with long-form content, but in short-form content, Completion rate means I watched your whole video, 1 to 30 seconds, 1 to 15 seconds. I watched the whole thing through. The second one is loops. So if you look at like magicians on TikTok, they're some of the most recommended ones because you see like a cool trick that lasts like 6 seconds, like an optical illusion. People want to replay it, so that replay value is really, really, really highly valued on TikTok. So those are basically the two things you're looking at. Watch time. So like if people leave your video and your video is 30 seconds or shorter, that's bad. So you want to make sure you have a very high completion rate. So that means TikTok's hard. Like actually, I think TikTok is one of the reasons why I haven't like spent a lot of time getting into short form content yet, because I think short form content is harder than long form content. You need to make it interesting the whole way through, and you need to make sure your completion rate is really high, which TikTok for Business will tell you what your completion rate is. That's your answer for that question. Pretty easy. What are the difference between videos that are 8 minutes long compared to videos under 8 minutes? Mid-roll ads, that's the big one, is making income from ads. And that's about it. Otherwise, it doesn't really make a big difference. Okay, I also want to just talk through some stuff too that's not in here. Well, let me just check the mastermind chat and make sure I got everything, because I think I'm here. Quick conversation about people that are saying, do you outsource script writing or what do you outsource for content creation? If you're a business, you can outsource basically everything. But if you're creating your own content and you're interested in becoming a content creator, you should basically produce everything that you can on your own for as long as you can, unless you're absolutely against the wall and you're totally maxed out on your work. Looking through. I just want to make sure I haven't missed anything. Okay, so let's talk really quickly through Twitch ad revenue. I will do a separate video for this, but just to give people a heads up, the Twitch is changing ad revenue splits. They're claiming it's 55% of CPM and 45% to them. I don't know how that's possible. So right now it's a flat rate between, I can't tell you the number. It's like because of the Twitch NDA. You can look it up real quick. It's really low, below $10. Well below. and they're proposing that they are going to be changing it to a percentage instead, which for what they sell CPMs for, if they are honest, if they're honest about their CPMs, every single streamer will like 10x their revenue overnight from ads. It's an insane opportunity. Like if they're really honest about it, then what's going to happen is like people with like 100 to 200 viewers will be able to like actually monetize via advertising. Like they'll make $500 to $1,000 a month, no problem, off of ads. Maybe more, probably more. But I don't think they're going to do it that way. I think they're going to obfuscate the CPM number or something in that way, because it makes no sense from a profit. Like it makes no sense from like a profit motive for them to do it this way. I have no idea why they're doing this. But it will certainly mean more money for creators no matter what. It will not mean less money. So it might 2x or 3x your revenue, but every single channel on Twitch and everyone who has a content creation strategy that is focused on Twitch, you should have an ad strategy at this point. You should be running 3 minutes of ads an hour at a bare minimum, which keep in mind, like the television ads is 16 minutes an hour. So it's like almost like 20% of the time. So you like 3 minutes is way less. I'd run way more too. Twitch is going to be putting an enormous amount of resources into making advertising like consumable on their platform, and it's just going to become like a culture thing. Like on YouTube right now, like if you watch ads on YouTube, like no matter how many ads you put in your video, it doesn't affect the video. It doesn't affect the video watch time or anything like that. There's been endless amounts of studies on this. You can just put as many ads as you want. So people are worried about ads on Twitch and have been, because the culture is different, but that will change. So you should just have an ad strategy. I'll talk through that in a video that's actually going to go to the main YouTube whenever I can frickin' film it and I have my stuff. All right, so this was an update video just to like kind of like go through some questions. I guess we mostly did content creation stuff, but I'll do some Ask Devin stuff later once I figure out. I want to put that on the main YouTube as well, but I don't know how to market it. So I'll figure that out. Okay, I hope this was helpful. Thank you for coming out for this, and we'll talk again soon. Bye.